Hey, it's MK, and I am here with a Stitches and Stencils layout for you guys today. I am also playing along with the SAR style advent calendar for day 6, and then I'm playing along with Woodgrain and Winter, which was yesterday, as well as Mixed Media Mayhem. The recipe was for yesterday as well. I'm just a bit behind, you guys. So for Mixed Media Mayhem, I picked out all of these star stencils. These two that are in the plastic packaging are actually from Altenew, and then the one in the button packaging is from Close to My Heart. I also have my circle stitching template, so I'm going to play along with that today. And then, no room on my desk, so I have to figure out where I'm going to put it without forgetting that I'm going to use it. I'm also going to use these Warm Wishes thickers. I think I'm going to do the Deck the Halls, but later on I kind of forget. But we'll see if I remember. I have my paper layers. That is the other part of the Mixed Media Mayhem recipe. So it's stamps, inks, and paper layers. So I picked out a couple scraps, some that I have been using throughout this particular series, and then others that were just scraps from previous series, Woodgrain and Winter series. Here are my inks. I've got mustard seed, squeezed lemonade, and then of course wild honey, and underneath the squeezed lemonade is fossilized amber. They're all distress inks because I'm going to be doing stamping, so I want them to dry fairly quickly, and that's why I didn't choose any oxides. Here are my two photos. My little elf decided to make a clubhouse in our Christmas tree. That was super fun. And then this is today's advent calendar goodies. They are little planks and wooden signs that were sublimated on white acrylic. And then you also get a set of stickers, which I thought were super fun today because they are kind of Christmas themed, but they don't have to be. But there are these grungy grid stickers, and they've got a lot of numbers and things, so they have 25 in them. One actually says December 25th, and then some of them mention the word winter, a couple bits and pieces, but not really wintry. So I also have this tiny word sticker sheet from Simple Stories, and then from 49 and Market, the Evergreen Season die cut bits. So I'm gonna see what I can do with those. All right. I also have my one sheet of Close to My Heart White Daisy cardstock, which is now Willow White, I believe, or something to that effect by Stampin' Up, which is a very good quality, by the way. I've mentioned before where I haven't gotten any, and I'm going to test it out. I actually finally got some, tested it out, but it only comes in, I think, sheets of 12. I don't think it comes in the 24 sheets, and so they don't last very long in my stash because I use a ton of white cardstock. Okay, so first thing I do when I do random stamping is I always start with my largest stamp. So I did condition it on my arm just in case I haven't used this stamp before, but I have a feeling I have. So I am going to go ahead and guesstimate where I want all of my goodies. I also, in case you guys haven't noticed, I forgot my stencil. Yes, but I don't. I really do end up bringing it back. But first, I'm going to create my background. And so the first thing I want this to look like is the lights on the Christmas tree. So I'm going to stamp my largest star stamp first. Woo, say that 10 times fast. And I'm going to stamp it in a way that I want my pictures to go. So I want my pictures to be on the right hand side, which is weird because I feel like my elf is facing to the left, but I still want my pictures on the right hand side, and then I want my title over on the left hand side. So in the end, it doesn't really look like he's facing to the left, at least to me, but right now he kind of looks like he is. So maybe I should have flip the page, but I don't end up flipping the page, you guys. That's an afterthought. Okay, so cleaning off my stamp as, best as I want to right now. I don't do the whole scrubby, stampy thing. It's all good. I pull off the other two stars from this set, but I don't end up using them either. Next, I'm going to go to the next. So that was mustard seed. This one here is fossilized amber, I believe. Yes, it's fossilized amber for this one, and I'm not using a block because I don't want the squareness of this stamp. I just want to kind of rock and roll it and get little images, and I'm filling the gaps. That's what I'm doing because my main stamp actually did a very good job covering up everything, but I like the fact that there's dark and light lights in what, like I said, I want it to look like the lights glowing from my Christmas tree. So next is the wild honey, and this one I'm doing the same thing. I don't want a square stamp, so I am not using a block and I'm just pressing with my fingers. I still end up with a little blocky vision, but then I decide to do second generation stamping, and that makes me a lot more happier. So now all of my stamping is officially done. I'm going to start doing some blending to give these, my twinkle lights basically, a little bit of a softer look, and all of a sudden it changes the entire effect of this piece of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and just follow along my stamping designs so that way I can get a nice haze look on my paper and build up that right hand side just in case it wasn't big enough for my title, because I don't know what I'm doing just yet. Okay, so again, I still forgot my stencil. Yes, I did try the water technique to see if I could get a little variation. It didn't work, so I didn't even put it in the video because then it's like, oh, wait a minute, what is she doing? I'm not doing anything apparently. The water technique does not work in my favor. Either I don't saturate my inks enough, or I just use the wrong colors in order to get that cool blotchy effect. But I still keep trying. It is what it is. Okay, so I did my first circle. I'm actually going to do 3 messy circles all in one little section, but I didn't want to lose where my dots were, where my stitching lines were, so I did 1 circle at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and do 1 circle. I don't do all of it on camera because, for one, I end up leaning backwards in my chair and then pulling the whole project towards me. And so you guys don't get to see anything when I do that because the camera is straight down, not at an angle. So yeah, I do end up just sharing with you guys a few little stitches and whatnot and how I do a backstitch. And what I do with my backstitch is I go every other hole in one direction, and then sometimes I just can keep going all the way around and grasp all the other holes. But for this particular one, I got to my last hole and then I had to go back and backfill the gaps basically. And so that is how I do my backstitching. It's not the proper way to do a backstitch, you guys. I'm just telling you guys that for right now in case, there are some people that say that's not a backstitch. For me, it is because I'm backfilling where I had my gap. But a true backstitch is you start in just one direction and then you constantly keep skipping a hole and going back into the back, the hole you just skipped. Why? I have no idea. But to me, that seems like a lot of ink or a thread wasted when you go back like that. But I don't know. I've never wanted to do that to see if I use up more thread. Okay, so here's my stencil. I am now taking that same squeezed lemonade and blending out some stars outside of where I, did my blending. So now it looks like I have stars outside of it. So I really do like that. I just forgot to do that when I was getting ready to do my stitching. I just got so excited wanting to try this messy circle stitch that, I really wanted to get that going. Okay, so I did pick out the big ones, the big stickers here that had the 25 and that had the winter word on it, December 25th, all those types of things, because I am doing a wintry layout. Plus, I also picked out all the other ones that had numbers, just so that way I could have a little bit more of the numbers. This one here, I had no idea how big my clusters were going to be, so it ends up actually getting covered up. And same with the one on the bottom, because I did not outline where my pictures were going to go. Not one bit. When I work with scraps like this, I find that it is almost impossible for me to figure out how much I want to show, how I just don't know. I don't know where I'm going to put it. How much do I want to do, you know, or anything. So I'm just guessing at this point. Same with all of these little pieces here. I am just guessing where I want what and how big I want what. Yep. It's all a guessing game. And yeah, I just don't know. I'm going to cut these strips off because I'm being lazy and I didn't want to pull out my other trimmer. That's the only thing to it. And then I'm going to cut off 2-inch little strips here so that way I can span this piece across, like it makes it look like it's one solid piece, but really I'm spanning it across. So, and again, I cut 2 inches not knowing that I'm only going to use not even an inch. I didn't know that. So yeah, it's just one of those things. And then I don't end up putting paper behind this little one at all. I don't end up doing any paper layers. I didn't think it needed it, in all honesty. Here's where I decide that I didn't want any of my black pieces to actually line up. I did want this green added to my layout somehow, but I can't figure out how I want it to go, so I'm not going to use it. Yeah, that's how that works. And then I decided to pull in this other green because it matches my other paper a little bit better because you could see that light green over on the right-hand side. Excuse my yawn. Oh my goodness. Yes, my days have been long. So yeah, I'm going to pull in that lighter green. I do end up putting that strip over there, but I don't end up doing that either. I know. It's like the day of decision making. I know I want to build up some scraps over here on the right for my title because that is not big enough for the word that I wanted to use, but forgot which word I wanted to use. And then I pulled out 2 pieces of these layering pieces from that die cut pack from 49 and Market. And that brings in that green that I was looking for. So, and I am going to, glue everything down, but then later, and you guys don't get to see it, but later, I do end up distressing all of my edges. Yep, because that's how I roll too. I was picking a spot that was non-conspicuous to see if I could rip that sticker back up, but that was a no-go. It's just not going to be seen. Yep. And here I'm just trying to decide whether or not I want my little elf to have paper behind it or not, and I just decided I don't. I just really don't. But see how he almost looks like he's looking to the left? But if you look at his eyes are actually looking to the left, but he's facing to the right, kind of. Right? So it's a catch-22. I could have put him in the middle of the page and he still would have looked fine, I guess. I don't know. So here I'm just building up my little paper layers, but I haven't brought in like any of my embellishments. I'm still just working with paper layers. So far I've got my Stitches and Stencils covered. I've got my Woodgrain and Winter kind of covered. I covered up most of my Woodgrain. And then I have my Mixed Media Mayhem covered. Even though I didn't play along yesterday, I do apologize, you guys. So now I'm bringing in my advent calendar goodies. Even though I already brought in my stickers, I am bringing in those planks. And the first thing I do is cover up one and include it or incorporate it into this cluster, which is super fun. I still haven't put any adhesive behind it to stick it in. So I have this sheet of glue dots. I don't even know where it came from, you guys. To be honest, I have no idea where this came from, but I'm going to peel off a glue dot and stick that right behind, wiggle, do the wiggle test. It doesn't move. I'm good to go. Yay. Now I just have to decide which other pieces do I want to go on my layout. Which sign. I knew I wanted a sign. I just didn't know which sign I wanted. And I really like this one that's kind of pointy because the elf, where it says elves only on his little clubhouse, it's pointing into the clubhouse. And so I kind of wanted this little pointy bit, even though I do end up covering most of it up. It's okay. So my kids really enjoy the Elf on the Shelf. I think this is going to be our last year because this year they've been so busy. I don't even think they've even looked for him, to be honest, or they don't talk about him like they usually do to see what he's up to. And for me, it's a lot of work, really. And so if they're not going to, if they're going to be too busy to notice, I'm not gonna do him anymore, to be fair. So yes, that's kind of how it's gonna go. Yep. So I think this is the last year for Kelvin. Not this one that I'm scrapbooking, but this one this year, 2025. So this one here, I believe, is from 2022, if I'm remembering. All right, so I'm going to pick out a couple tiny word stickers. I found two right off the bat. They were absolutely perfect. One says favorite ornament because he's hanging out in our tree, and then the other one says merry and bright because it's, bright Christmas lights, right? And like I said, I've got the lights, the effect of the stars are supposed to be the lights behind him, even though our lights are colorful. I personally really like a Christmas tree with just white or yellow lights. I'm not a multicolored light fan on the tree, but my kids really enjoy it. And so, yep, there she be. One of these days I'm going to take all the lights and just change them into clear or yellow. I really like the yellow, but my husband probably will be sad if I do that because he likes the colorful lights, in all honesty. My husband, he's so weird. He could do a tree with no embellishments whatsoever, just the lights, and he would be happy as a clam, to be honest, and he does not even, doesn't need anything else. He just likes the tree going up, the lights turned on, bam, Christmas is done. If only it was that simple, right? But he would be perfectly happy. Okay, so I'm only going to pick out a few elements. I really am, because now I'm feeling like I need a tree. I've got all these little cool elements. I'm looking to see at the icons that were included in this set, and I've got 2 Santas and a poinsettia. Yeah, that's not going to work for me, which is weird. Normally, these types of sets have a lot of icons, and this one only came with 2 Santas and a poinsettia. Either that or I've used all the rest, because I don't remember if this is from last year or if this is new to me. I don't remember when this set came out. So I'm going to go ahead and take this Season of Joy solid paper pad. It's the new one that Katie Pertique came out with this year by Arden Creative Studio. I'm going to pull out 1 sheet of paper. This one, I now have to pull out my trimmer to actually, cut it in half. But I'm going to trim it in half so that way I can run it through my die cut machine. Now, my die cut machine actually cuts out an 8.5 by 11 paper, but I wanted 2 different styles. So I wanted the light and the dark from these papers. This is one of my favorite things about these papers here. Same with Close to My Heart's papers when they had them, which Stampin' Up! Now has adopted. But this was one of my favorites. Now look at the array of different types of boughs that I have. And so I can make a Christmas tree all of a sudden. Yay! With lights in the background, and I'm super stoked. So all I'm doing now is I'm going to, and taking them and, making them into like their own little piles. So that way I can pick from this pile, pick from that pile. It's an OCD thing, you guys. I didn't need to do that. I could have just rummaged through the entire pile, but for me, I really did need them to be in likeness piles in order for me to make this all work. I'm not going to go too chaotic with how many boughs I now have, or sprigs, or whatever you guys want to call them, on my layout. I just know that now I'm going to be super happy because all of my elements will have these little sprigs and palm boughs. Is that what you call them? That sounds like the right word, but it doesn't now. Anyways, but it's super fun. So I started with the lighter ones, and then I'm going to throw the darker ones as shadow needles in the back. I'm going to go ahead and add my little tiny word stickers, and then last but not least, like I said, I'm going to add my little darker pieces just to fill in and give me that double color. I think fir trees have where you've got the 2 different kinds of needles and they look like 2 different colors. So super fun and super quick and easy. I really, really love how this turned out. And there she be. I'm doing a little close up so you can see the stenciling and the stitches. I love how that stenciling, even though it's not an afterthought, I just forgot it. I apologize. But even though I had to do it after the stitching, it still worked out really well. And it looks like it's you know, like they're glowing out of the little haze that I put in the initial star stamping. So super, super fun. I had a blast making this. I keep forgetting about how much I love making my own background paper, but I have so much pattern paper that I need to use it up before I can sit here and just commit to just making my own background, because it's my favorite. It really, really is. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Don't forget to check out all the links that I have down below: Mixed Media Mayhem, Woodgrain and Winter, Stitches and Stencils. And then, of course, don't forget to check out Janet Fritz's channel, who is Galaxy Girl Creations, because she is helping me all month long with the Advent calendar and sharing how she uses her little bits and bobs that she received in the Advent calendar, and how she's applying it to either her winter layouts or her everyday layouts. All right, you guys, again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And yeah, I will check you guys all later. Bye.